In this week's edition of Vietnam Reflections, we're airing part 2 of the story of Wallace Moe Newcomb. Now, his story tonight picks up as he was turned over to the North Vietnamese after his plane was shot down. Mr. Newcomb then survived more than 5 years as a prisoner of war in the infamous Hanoi Hilton.
I realized, okay, this is it. I'm now a captive. I am the other guy. And they loaded me in a Jeep, drove all night, and I was blindfolded, and I could kind of peek out and hear what was going on. There's a lot of floodlights and sounds of construction. And I thought, okay, that's the target that we were to have bombed, and somebody had bombed it, and there's repair going on. Finally, the Jeep stopped and pulled into, really couldn't see it except peeking out from under the blindfold, but it was the Hanoi Hilton, and it was a reception area, and I was hustled off to what became known as the Nobby Well room, and that was the start of the prison tour. I was in solitary confinement. I was in there for the Nobby Well room for about 10 days. And finally, they came in, and one of the things that went on is that they wanted to know what targets. And I think they knew that we didn't know the targets, but it would create an issue. And during this time, they did use torture and beatings to get you to talk. They used the mechanism of targets as an excuse to beat up on you, put you in the ropes, to establish the fact that you're a prisoner and they can, attempt to get you to do what they want. And they said, now you must write a letter to the camp commander requesting a roommate. And I said, you know that we're not supposed to write anything, and I've been resisting this, and so that we don't have any misunderstanding, could you tell me what to write? And this is kind of a technique. If you did have to write anything, when they would dictate it, it'd be in bad English. And if it ever got out, obviously someone would read this and say, gee, this guy looks like he did this under duress. No sooner had the guards and the inquisitors, the interrogators left, the front door of the plane opened up, and again, a couple guards came in, and there's an American with them. And he said, oh, I'm Lieutenant J.G. Charlie Zuhowski. And he helped me. I had my broken leg in sort of a chicken wire basket type of thing, and I had a cane, or not a cane, but a crutch. And Charlie and I marched out, and we went to HBH, Heartbreak Hotel. It was a little 7-cell wing near where Heartbreak Hotel was, and that started the tour in the prison camp. And we went from days became months, which unfortunately became years. I had a prison roommate, Lori Lingell. Unfortunately, Lori just passed away recently, and I was with Lori almost start to finish in the whole tour. Lori said, it was in January of '68. Said, guys, I can feel it in my bones. St. Patty's Day in Frisco Bay. Now this wasn't completely delusions of grandeur. There's talk of, you know, peace talks starting, things like that, and the guards were acting in a good mood. So I think Laurie was honest in his thinking. Unfortunately, St. Patrick's Day came and went, and a year later we went through the same routine. And one of our roommates, Glenn Red Wilson, he just got better than heck. Glenn had a slightly bad temper, and he yelled at Laurie and says, "Laurie, shut your mouth. I don't want to hear about St. Patty's Day in Frisco Bay ever again. If there's anything going on, you're running your mouth is going to put an end to everything. It will bring bad luck, so we don't want to hear it." The following year, Laurie again became optimistic, and he said, "Guys, I can feel it in my..." Now he'd be whispering, he said, "I don't want Red to hear it. I can hear this. I feel it in my bones." In 1973, we were released from prison on the 14th of March. We went to Clark Air Force Base in the Philippines for a couple of days of interrogation by our intel people, and really what they were looking for is names, a list of names, to make sure no one was left behind. We then went from there to Hickam Field in Hawaii on our way back, and there was a nice reception set up for us. After the airplanes got refueled and we had enough beer where it's time to cut it off, we boarded the plane, we headed to the U.S. I had kind of a feeling that we were getting near the west coast of the United States, and it was overcast. I went up, the C-141 has some little windows in a couple of the doors, and I was peering out, and all of a sudden the clouds started to part. I saw these things sticking up through this hole, sucker hole that opened up, and they were the towers that held up the suspension bridge, the Golden Gate Bridge. So one of the first, now Laurie was in this release group, and I apologized for all the static we'd give them over the years about St. Patty's Day in Frisco Bay. Every year, I give them a call on St. Patty's Day and say, "Hey, you were right."
And Moe was given a hero's welcome with a parade and painted post when he arrived back here to the Southern Tier. But his military career didn't end there. He eventually went back to active duty with the Air Force and later the New York Air National Guard. He eventually retired at the rank of Lieutenant Colonel. Thank you, Moe, for your service.